Do you feel like you're in a position where you are not moving as fast as you wish you were? Or do you have some goals that you want to achieve, but you find yourself not achieving them? Well, there's a lot going on in that is very easy to connect with. And the one thing that I want us to find out today is what are the things that are common for most people when they find themselves that they're saying, I wish I was making more progress in my life. So, if that really resonates with you, stick around for this episode because we're going to dive deeply into what are the most common problems and how to create solutions around them. My name is Eric, and I am the host of Taiwanica podcast. And we're here today to discuss how do we get out of our own problems of not knowing how to move forward and to gain clarity. So, what is the main reasons why we're getting stuck in this way? Mainly, it starts with something at a deep inner level, and that is not knowing what our values are. Have you ever been in a position where someone has asked you if you knew what you wanted to do today and you told them, actually, not really? It's not something that anything special like a holiday or a work day, but you're still sitting around like saying, I don't know what I really want to do. The main reason for that is because you're not sure what is going on inside of you. It's not that you're feeling any problems or that you are lacking in any way. It's just simply not having clarity on who you wish to be at that moment. And that comes with a clear sense of what your values are. And that goes in a lot of different things like, well, what are the things that I usually do with my day? Or how do I usually spend my time? And when you start to really find out those areas that are keeping you not moving forward in your life, it becomes a lot easier to start seeing, okay, well, if I start to take these out, then I can do something else with it. But right now, I'm feeling like I'm procrastinating or I don't have enough momentum or like the other people around me are not moving forward either. So why should I? And there's all these little bit of comparisons with yourself and others that starts to show up. So what do you start doing? Well, you find yourself in a position where you're saying, well, maybe this isn't the right time, or maybe I missed my time. And this is leading you down a path that is going to keep on having more failure. And there is no better time than to start doing something now. And we've heard this a thousand times, but the meaning of it still is important to remember because really we only have this moment. But what do we do if we don't know what to do next? Well, the main thing is to start to see in your life what are the things that are keeping you stuck. So it could be just simple lack of clarity, or it could be that you are misaligned with your examples of life. So maybe in your life, there could be somebody that you really admire, like your parents or your friends or a coworker, and you look at what they do with their life and you find that they're keeping themselves pretty comfortable where they've made it to the point where they say, I don't need to keep on growing. And because you admire them so much, you find yourself doing something very similar. But at the same time, deep inside of yourself, you're saying, well, actually, there's something more that I want. Right. And I'm sure we've all been there before because if you weren't, then you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. So the main thing that we want to recognize at this moment is if there's someone that I'm really admiring, what am I admiring about them? And is that thing that I'm admiring really aligned with who I wish to be? Because if the answer to that question is no, then you're going to find yourself stuck in a situation and you're not really sure why. We have to keep in mind that the most common things that happen to us are because of the people around us. So we are usually a collection of the five closest people in our life. So whether that's your family, your friends, it doesn't matter who, but the people that you spend the most time with are going to start reflecting your own way of living. So if you're starting to see that you're acting in a way that doesn't represent who you want to be, it's not necessarily something that's only coming from the inside. It's going to be coming from something on the outside too. And we got to catch ourselves on what those things are and start to do a little bit of investigation. Where is that coming from? And you find out that it's something or somebody. And then if you have clarity on what it is, it becomes so much easier for you to recognize what is it that's keeping me stuck. So this helps with saving time. And we all know how time is so precious if we want to keep growing. But the most important thing when people are starting to say, well, it's great that I have clarity on the problems that I have, but I'm still feeling like I should be farther than I am right now. What do I do? Well, we have to look at what is going on inside of your mind with the idea of trying something and failing at something. Every time that people go out there and want to become better than they are, they have to be okay with the fact that they're going to be embracing negativity. That negativity is going to hit you hard and it will make you want to stop if you cannot embrace the failure. Right now, we're living in a world where it's so easy for us to get what we want. You know, we can order something on Shopee and it will be there in a couple of days. If we want to go buy something, we can go to a 百货公司, a department store and buy whatever it is that we want. And people don't usually say no to us. The only time that we really experience a no is when we're looking for work or we're trying to make money or we're trying to expand ourselves in a particular area, like a skill. And this is the problem for most people. They don't like hearing no, so they stop growing because it's painful to hear a no for a while. But it's a learning process. If you can keep used to hearing the word no, then sooner or later you can tolerate it and just keep growing as an individual. But this is the thing that we need to recognize is that we have to keep exploring ideas. We have to keep exploring what's going to happen if we try something new. And we have to be okay with the expectation that a failure could happen. Okay, now failure is for a lot of people a lesson that is learned. I wouldn't call it a lesson. I'm saying it's a clarity moment because a clarity moment shows you, hey, that didn't work the way that I wanted it to work. So I now see a path that has a roadblock. And if I want to not keep on going down the same path with the roadblock, I'm going to have to go and try something else, explore a new path, see if there's a roadblock there. If there is, okay, great. Now I know another one. Sooner or later, after exploring different paths over and over again, you're going to find one that actually goes through to where you want to go. That's how it works. Okay, so figuring out what is the pain, going through the exploration of the path that will take you to your destination and finding a lot of them that don't, sooner or later, you're going to find that you're starting to be more aligned with who you wish to be. But we have to explore what are the things that are slowing that process down because we're all experiencing that in some way or another. It can be something as little as not having enough focus on what it is that you really want to do. You know, if I were to ask you this question and you honestly answer it within yourself right now, do you know what you want to have in the next 10 years? Do you? I mean, it's a simple question, but have you thought about it a lot? If you're the type of person that says no to that question, well, that's actually very common. 90% of the people in the world statistically are completely unaware of what they want after 1 month. For most people, we live in what we call a microwave society where we want everything instantaneously. Thinking about the future is something that we don't necessarily do very often because there's so much stuff that's going on right now that our attention doesn't necessarily go there naturally. So we're finding ourselves not very certain what it is that we want to do. Now, if you were the person that said yes to that question, that you do know what you're going to do in 10 years, well, then you have clarity on how to get there. But what are the things that are keeping you from going there at the pace that you really want to go? Well, all of this, whether you know or don't know, is about finding out what is misaligned in your life. When I say misaligned, I'm talking about your values again. So, values are the key of making sure that you keep moving forward. And for those who are not really sure what a value is, let's break it down. A value is simply how do you perceive life according to you. So if someone comes up to you right now and they say, "What kind of person are you?" Oh, you might say, "I'm patient, I'm hardworking, I'm deliberate, I am consistent." All of these are values. Okay, anything that you can consider that I am this, that's a value. Okay. And so if you have 5 core values that you can think of instantly and you know that that's really who you are ahead of a huge majority of the population because most people don't know what's going on within them. And that's slowing down their progress of actually seeing their goals become reachable. So, what do we do? Well, it's very easy, actually. You can just find a list of values, break them down, maybe get like 25 or 30 values that you think you really align with, and then take 10 minutes to break down the 30 all the way down to the five that you cannot live without. If you can do that, then you will have a certainty that most people would wish that they had around how to live their life. The only thing you have to do after that is to simply refresh, remind yourself, gain clarity that this is the person that you wish to be every single day. And so you will become that because your mind is becoming focused on that. Remember, focus is key. Anything that you focus on, you become. There's a lot of phrases out there that talk about stuff like that, and I'm sure you've heard them. But one that I really like is this. A lot of people think that their career is their life, but it's not. The career is what you are doing with your life right now. Okay, it's not who you are, it's what you do. But your purpose is who you are made to be. Okay, so finding out what your purpose is entirely aligned with the values that you say who you are. And we got to keep in mind, values are something that we have at this moment, and we've had them in the past too. And some of those values are no longer valid, or they're no longer the ones that we currently wish to have. So we can change these. Don't think of these as permanent things like a tattoo on your body. You can change your values at any given time. But the point is to find out what are the current ones. And if you know what they are, then something powerful really starts to happen. And that is you start to cultivate self leadership. And this self leadership is talking about how do I start to see the difference between what is the expectations of the world around me and what they expect of me and what is the reality of what is happening in my life? What am I trying to do that's actually connected to who I want to be? And what am I accidentally doing that is not connected to who I wish to be? When you start to have those connections, it's easy because you're starting to see that the outer world has something going on, and you have something going on in the inner world that's either trying to match the expectations that you don't actually want to do or match the things that you really want to do, which is connected to your values. And you start to just do a little bit of comparison. Oh, wow, I'm spending a lot of time doing an activity that really doesn't align with my goals, like maybe eating a lot of junk food when I really want to lose weight. This is a classic example. You see yourself every weekend eating a couple of bags of chips, and you're saying, oh, why am I doing this to myself? I really want to lose weight, but I keep on eating these chips. They taste so good. I'm just going to keep doing it because I always do it. That's the difference between expectation and what it is that you actually want to do with your reality. So, how do you change that? Well, we got to look at the core values again. Is your core value satisfaction? Because if it is, you're going to eat bags of chips. But if your core value is perseverance or determination, then you're going to be working out more. So making sure that you commit to your core values is going to change your reality because it all comes down to what you believe about yourself. If you believe and focus on particular values, that's how life will start to show up for you. It always works that way. So now we're getting into the deeper parts of this. You probably have experienced failure in your life. If you haven't, good for you. You'd be lying because everyone experienced failure. So, the thing about failure is we need to recognize what is happening inside of us when it occurs. Sometimes people learn from it very quickly and they just bounce right back and say, okay, got it. Don't do that again. But for a lot of people, they have created a long path of failure where they've maybe fallen a career path or an education path that is actually not aligned with what they really want to do in life. That could be because of lots of different things, maybe a pressure from family. Maybe mom and dad wanted you to be a doctor, but you wanted to be an artist. Or your teacher said, oh, you're really bad at languages. So let's have you do something else, like just focus on math all the time when you actually have a passion for languages. And when you get shaped in this way, it's kind of like you're climbing a ladder to get to the top of a building. And then once you finally get to the top of that ladder, you realize, oh, dang, I climbed the wrong ladder. The ladder I want is over there. Ooh, that's painful because now you got two problems. One, you have to get down the ladder and then you have to go climb another one. Yikes. So if that happens, what are we going to have to do? Well, it's a very painful process of being honest that you had lack of clarity on who you were at that moment. But the sooner you become honest with that, they're saying, oh, yeah, I screwed up. And you are able to switch. The pain is temporary, the progress is long term, but the reward of changing to what you are actually wanting to do with your life is the most fulfilling feeling that you'll have. So, this is what we're talking about here right now. How can you gain more clarity? And so you're able to start doing more of the things that you want. It starts with one simple action: looking inward, finding out what your current reality is. What about it do you like? What about that you don't like? Finding out more about what you don't like, removing those, looking at what you do like, creating more of those, and they'll start to shape themselves over and over again simply because you know what the core is. You won't waste time. You'll start to have more connections. You'll start to find more people that align with that. If you want to keep chasing money, that's great. But if that's not something that you want to do, you'll stop doing that because that's a societal pressure as well. Whatever it is that you really want to do, you're going to start finding that it's going to be easier for you to make it happen, regardless of what other people say. That's the most common thing that I hear from people. It's like, Eric, what you're saying is great, but my family would never let me go and be an artist. Or, I would really love to be able to make this a reality, but I feel like I'm stuck in my job because if I go out of it, I'm not going to have enough money to survive. So let me say this directly. You're right, because that's what your mind believes. But that comes right back to the problem that we said earlier: expectations versus reality. When you talk like that, you're talking about expectations from money, from people. It's all outside of you. But the reality is you control what you believe. And if you change what you believe into more of what you want to see in the world, it's going to change that way. Sure, it's not instant like a microwave, but over time, you'll start to see that it shapes itself into that formation. Like for me, one of the things that I've always wanted that I'm aligned with as my goal of being respected and having value is to make this podcast to be accessible across Taiwan. It's a very valuable thing that I would like to see, and I'm aligned with it because I want to be able to serve people the best way that I can. So here we are, year 4, and we're still working on it. But the point is that I'm not giving up, mainly because I know my value is I respect my consistency, my hard work, my determination to make this happen. So, what's yours? What are you thinking about trying to create? Is there a project that you want to achieve? Is there a goal that you want to attain? Is there a weight that you want to have? Whatever it is, you can attain it. But we have to start making baby steps. So, here are some solutions that I'd like to recommend to you today on how you can start to slowly make this happen when your mind is racing with the ideas that you already follow. The ones that are not helping you grow, the ones that are helping you keep on climbing the wrong ladder. Yeah, let's talk about how we can put a pause on those for a moment. The first one is I want you to think about how you can take a breather in your life. So, a very common breather that you can do is just to breathe in 15 seconds, as much as you can until you can't breathe in anymore, and then just exhale all the way out until you can't exhale anymore. So, 15 seconds usually for most people is too much. So, if you can get to your max and then exhale to your max, and you do that about 2 or 3 times, you will find that you will feel much more relaxed in reality, not the expectations of the world, but in your world. What do you think you should do right now based on your values? Will become much easier when you take a breath like that and then simply ask yourself a question like, what is it that aligns with my goals right now? Or what do I think would be best for me to do right now? Or another great one that I love is what is something that I can do 1% better right now? Whatever the question, it doesn't matter, but you are helping yourself realign yourself to who you wish to be rather than what the world expects you to be. Okay, that's an easy one. Another great one is just simply finding yourself back to being anchored into presence. Okay, what does that mean? Let's unpack it. So, anchoring yourself into presence is the idea of being okay with whatever is happening right now. Yeah, you might be saying, oh my gosh, but I feel so stressed right now, or I feel so overwhelmed, or I really hate my life circumstance at this moment. Hey, all those are valid. Okay, I'm not making you feel any less valuable, but the whole point is that we need to see what those are because in reality, you're spending a lot of time focusing on those. And when you focus on them, that's what you're going to get. So if we can make it so that we can compact or shorten the amount of time that you focus on those, then naturally your mind will have to focus on something else, the things that you really want to focus on. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, here's a really simple exercise. Simply find out where you currently are positioned emotionally right now. Okay, right now, let's just do it. Right now, if I were to ask myself how I feel inside, I would say I feel pretty good. I feel like, on a scale from 1 to 10, I feel like an 8. What do you feel? Scale from 1 to 10. Okay. Now do you know what your number is? Okay, let's just figure out what the emotion is. Okay, well, I feel happy right now. What do you feel? Okay, now that you might know what you feel, think about it for another moment if you need to. I know to some extent what you feel. Let's just feel that feeling. If it is a negative feeling, it doesn't matter. If you feel stressed, if you feel overwhelmed, that's fine. Experience it for a moment. Recognize it for being there because that is you anchoring into presence instead of living in your mind of all these expectations from other people. So anchor into it, feel it. It might feel uncomfortable, it might feel nice, doesn't matter. Just take the time, maybe even deep breathe. See, after a little bit of time of doing that, we're back here again and it feels a little bit lighter. I feel a little bit more present. Some people ask me when I do this practice, Eric, what if you don't know what you feel? Doesn't matter. You're feeling something, and you can notice that your body is feeling something somewhere, right? That makes sense. Like if I don't know what emotion I'm feeling, I definitely notice some sort of sensation in my body. Like, oh, I might feel a little bit of a pain in my shoulder, or I might feel a little bit of an ache in my back, or I might feel a little bit of an itch in my chest. Doesn't matter. You're feeling something. Focus on that for about 20 seconds, whatever it is. And then after that, even if you don't know what emotion you feel, you're still anchored in presence. And that's the idea is that the more you get anchored into presence, the more time and opportunity you have to choose what you want to do based on your values rather than the expectations. So that's the idea. Finding ways to reflect what you are doing with your life, anchoring yourself into presence, taking stress off by breathing or doing something that you love will help you have more opportunities to get off of the ladder that is you're climbing towards a place you don't actually want to go. So that is the idea of starting to move forward more in your life. If you really like this episode, share it with someone that you think would really like it right now, because this is information that a lot of people really need. And if you really liked it and you want to go even further than that, you can check out learning more of these strategies with me one-on-one by booking a clarity call. The link is in the description. It's easy to do. We can talk for about 20 to 30 minutes about what it is that you want to do and how we can align that easily in your life. All right. Thank you so much for listening. And then we'll talk to you in the next episode.